Well, howdy. My name's Wally. I figure you know what your name is. Thanks for being here. Now, sometimes I need to share a memory because I don't want it lost by others or especially by me. So, well, let's see what Grandpa Wally's got to say today. Now, as improbable as it sounds, I once had a beer named after me. Well, sorta. Now, the only other person I can think of who had a beer named after him was President Jimmy Carter's brother, Billy. And best I recall, that didn't exactly turn out to be a shining moment in the annals of American brewing. But mine? Well, mine was a whole bunch different. No billboard, no bottle, just a tap, and a sign that read Wally's Beer. The first time I walked into Mesquite River Brewing in Scottsdale, Arizona, it wasn't planned. I'd just finished doing some stories and singing some songs around a campfire at a resort, doing something that always left me feeling good. Now, I could have done what I'd done so many Tuesday nights before, just kept driving west, back to my palatial Casa de la Tin Can estate. Instead, for reasons I can never explain, I turned left off Frank Lloyd Wright and headed south on Scottsdale Road to Thunderbird. Now, Glenn, he was a friend and he was hosting an open mic at that place. I figured, well, why not? It was a strip mall on the southwest corner of Scottsdale and Thunderbird with something of a standard lineup of buildings like that. You know, it was a restaurant was there was a dance studio, and there was a craft brewery right there in the middle of everything. That was Mesquite River Brewing. Nothing fancy. Now you understand what I'm saying. Now, I don't know how important this part is, but I'm going to put it in here. I just never did bars. There's a whole story behind that, but I liked Glenn and I was curious. Now, it turns out, in this case, that detour was one of the best I've ever made. The place surprised me. Not because it was special to look at, it wasn't. But I felt something the moment I walked in. Like the walls whispered, "Son, you're home." It had a heart. I swear I could hear it. It had a soul. And I swear I could feel it. It was a place where I didn't have to explain myself. Now, I've got to tell you, me in a craft brewery, that's worse than a bull in a china shop. You see, my go-to beer is what beer connoisseurs call, at best, a garage beer. I thought about turning around and walking out. I was pretty sure they didn't have Miller Lite on tap. But, well, Glenn was there. He was running the open mic, so I figured, what the hell, son, let's give the place a try. The tall, bearded guy behind the bar asked what I wanted. Well, I told him I didn't have a clue, but I liked beer with a little more bite than my usual stuff. His name was Carl. He came back with a couple samples. I sipped both of them, but finished one. "Oh yeah," I said, "that's a good one." And that was the beginning of the story of Wally's Beer. But it sure wasn't the end. The IPA I ordered that night and kept ordering, I never memorized the name Carl had given it. That's the one that became known as Wally's Beer, and Carl brewed it. Now Carl didn't just brew, he ran the place, hauled kegs, checked temps, fixed what needed fixing. And the funny thing, he didn't much care for that IPA, but he brewed it anyways. Some folks liked it, including me. And that says everything you need to know about Carl. I should mention that Carl had a partner. His name was Fred. I never got to know Fred well, and I know I'm a bit the lesser for that. But I can't think about Mesquite River Brewing without thinking about Fred. And then, then there was Lindsay. She's the one who gave the IPA the name Wally's Beer. She wrote it on a sign and hung it on a board right below the actual name. Didn't ask permission, just smiled and made it happen. And from that point on, that beer was mine. No, not legally. No, not officially. But spiritually, oh, hell yes. I kept going back and word spread. Glenn kept putting the word out and so did I. Friends started showing up. They caught the vibe. They felt the magic. One night, one of my daughters came with me. We sang together, nothing fancy, but it's the kind of memory that settles deep and never leaves. Some nights, after the place closed down, Carl and I would just sit and talk. Not big, life-altering stuff, just real. Just him and me. We'd talk about this, that, and anything else. And he was more conservative than me, but it never mattered. He'd talk, I'd listen. I'd talk, he'd listen. No trying to win, no trying to fix what was wrong with the world or with each other. Just two guys talking about stuff that might have once made a difference, or maybe never would. And that to me was magic. The kind of connection you don't get often, and you don't forget it once you do have it. There's a whole lot of my musings that got their start right there in that place, just sitting and thinking or talking with Carl in the dimly lit bar, heart full and mind wide open, unless I had too much Wally's beer. And yes, I did know when to quit most nights. Now, Mesquite River Brewing is gone. The taps are dry, lights are dark, but what it gave me, that's still with me, and I miss it. I miss it like I miss a passionate night of lovemaking with a woman who wants me just as much as I want her. Not just for the thrill, but for the knowing, for the connection, for the intimacy of being fully present, fully alive and fully accepted. I looked for something like Wally's Beer after they closed. Liquor stores, grocery sales. But eventually, well, I stopped. Even if I'd found the taste, it wouldn't be the same, because Wally's Beer, it wasn't about beer. Well, maybe just a little. But mostly it was about belonging, about the people who made it matter, and about me finding a piece of myself in a little craft brewery in Scottsdale, Arizona. You know, it's a fact that most of us won't get our names put up somewhere for the world to see. But sometimes, if we're lucky, someone writes Wally's Beer on a chalkboard, hangs it up, and that can be more than enough. So, won't you be good to others, be better to yourself, drop a pebble for the good times, the best times, and the forever times. Let's make the journey unfinished but unforgettable. Happy trails.